Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're digging into a really rich source, the weekly CTI Dispatch.
Yeah, it's packed.
It really is. It gives
Yeah,
this fascinating snapshot, of the cyber landscape. We're seeing big takedowns, but also some pretty sophisticated threats evolving.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the dispatch, it really aims to keep security teams and leaders too informed, not just on the events, but attacker behavior, what defenders are doing.
So it's the intelligence and the practical side.
Precisely. You get the what happened and the what you can actually do about it.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with some good news, actually. The security triumphs.
Yeah, there were some significant wins.
Like the arrests involving breach forums and shiny hunters. That feels like a pretty big disruption.
Oh, absolutely. These aren't just minor things. Taking down operators like that, it causes immediate chaos for them, sure, but it also sends a deterrence message.
A warning shot.
Kind of, yeah. Hitting those marketplaces, the ones trading stolen identities, it shakes their whole business model, makes things riskier, more expensive for cyber criminals.
Okay, so that's the good news. But attackers aren't exactly sitting back, are they? We saw these pretty sophisticated DDoS campaigns hitting global banks.
Right. Leveraging novel botnets, advanced evasion tactics.
What makes them novel here? And what's the bigger picture?
Well, these multi-vector attacks show adversaries really understand how much the financial sector relies on being online. Availability is everything.
So they're aiming to undermine trust.
Exactly. And these novel botnets, they often use compromised IoT devices, maybe cloud infrastructure, makes them harder to trace, harder to stop.
So for defenders,
It means definitely reviewing and updating DDoS playbooks, working closely with your ISPs. And importantly, this ties directly into the UMIRE ATT and CK framework.
right.
Yeah, under the impact category, specifically T1499, denial of service, understanding how they disrupt availability.
Got it. And it's not always these super complex attacks either. We also saw Remcos RAT campaigns.
Hitting businesses, schools, mainly via phishing.
Yeah, enabling full device compromise. It might sound like basic phishing, but why is it still so effective?
Well, it just shows how persistent commodity malware is. RAT gives attackers, full control. It really hammers home the need for solid endpoint telemetry and, crucially, ongoing user training. Phishing awareness isn't a one-off.
Old trick's still working.
Sometimes the simplest tools are the most effective, unfortunately.
And speaking of adapting, let's talk about Scattered Spider. They seem to be shifting focus towards aviation and transportation.
That's right. Using social engineering, then ransomware. It's strategic.
How so?
Well, think about it. Targeting industries where disruption causes massive knock-on effects. It gives them more leverage for extortion.
Right, the potential impact is huge.
Exactly. And this is where MFA becomes absolutely critical. It's not just a box to tick. It's a key defense against that social engineering.
So defenders need MFA, obviously, but what else?
Continuous monitoring of attacker TTPs, their tactics, techniques, procedures. Using MITRE ATT and CK mapping helps here too. Like T566 for phishing under initial access. It helps build behavioral analytics.
Okay, moving to emerging threats. APT28, Fancy Bear, they're using Signal Chat for malware delivery now.
Yeah, bypassing traditional network monitoring. That shift to end-to-end encrypted platforms for C2 command and control, it poses real challenges.
Because you can't easily inspect the traffic.
Exactly. It forces defenders towards behavioral analysis, endpoint detection. UMIRE ATT&CK's T1573 encrypted channel, that helps frame how to look for this kind of activity.
And then there was the FileFix attack, using the Windows File Explorer preview pane.
Yeah, pretty clever. Triggering hidden PowerShell commands without even a click.
Wow.
It highlights how attackers abuse native OS features. Needs proactive monitoring, tight configuration.
And maybe one of the kind of scarier ones, North Korea links supply chain attacks, targeting software updates.
That's a huge risk.
Right.
High impact, potentially low visibility initially. It really underscores why validating software integrity is so vital.
How do you even detect that?
Validating update packages, checking code signing rigorously. That's mapped to UMIA, ATT&CK, T1195, supply chain compromise. We also saw OneClik hitting energy sectors via Microsoft click-ons.
Exploiting a deployment tool.
Right. And even black hat SEO poisoning, using search results to push AI malware. Both prey on user trust, either in software frameworks or search engines.
So quite a mix this week. If you put it all together, what's the main takeaway?
Well, the landscape shows this real convergence. You've got sophisticated tech attacks blending with very human-centric vectors like social engineering and exploiting trust.
And key sectors are still primary targets.
Definitely. Finance, transport, energy still right in the crosshairs. For defenders, it means you can't just rely on traditional defenses.
Yeah.
You need to fuse that with advanced behavioral analytics, intelligence-driven response.
So strengthening supply chains, updating playbooks.
Investing in social engineering resilience, and really prioritizing detection within trusted processes and those encrypted channels we talked about.
It's clear things are constantly changing. The evolution of threats means, well, defenses have to evolve just as fast. You can't stand still.
Absolutely. Which leads to the real question for everyone listening. In a world where adversaries exploit trust everywhere, software supply chains, search results, even internal tools, how will you proactively test your own controls? How will you empower your teams to build resilience against attacks that use legitimate pathways?